His doctor warned him. His wife begged him to stop. But on July 3, 1981, Ross Martin ignored them, and it cost him his life. For 40 years, Hollywood stayed silent about what really led to the tragic death of TV's greatest chameleon. Now, shocking medical records reveal the truth. Not even his best friend, Robert Conrad, could save him. And the very studio that built its fortune on his talent, it didn't even show up at his funeral. Born Martin Rosenblatt on March 22, 1920, in Grodek, Poland, Martin's life began in turmoil. His family, fleeing anti-Semitism and unrest, sought refuge in America. Arriving at Ellis Island later that year, they settled in the Bronx, where young Martin, gifted with an exceptional ear for language, became fluent in multiple tongues, a skill that would later define his legendary acting career. A brilliant student, he graduated magna cum laude from City College of New York before earning a law degree from George Washington University. But the courtroom wasn't his calling. Acting was. In the 1940s, he joined forces with Bernie West, forming a comedy duo that thrived in vaudeville before landing on Broadway in Hazel Flag. His knack for accents soon made him a radio sensation, earning him roles on The Cavalcade of America and Dimension X. The industry took notice, leading to The Ross Martin Show and a ticket to Hollywood. Hollywood saw potential. In 1955, Martin made his film debut in Conquest of Space, followed by the cult classic The Colossus of New York, 1958. His breakthrough came in Mr. Lucky, 1959, where he played Andamo, a smooth-talking gun runner with charm to spare. Known for his razor-sharp improvisation and meticulous disguises, Martin was a rare breed of talent. But despite his brilliance, Hollywood often failed to recognize his worth. That would change in 1962, when Martin stunned audiences as Garland Red Lynch in Experiment in Terror. Playing an asthmatic sociopath, he went to extreme lengths for authenticity, studying a childhood friend with asthma, and even performing his own brutal stunts. The result? A Golden Globe nomination and a performance so haunting, it later inspired Twin Peaks villain Bob. Martin wasn't just a master of menace, he was a comedic genius. In The Great Race, 1965, he played Baron Rolf von Stupa, a flamboyant yet bumbling aristocrat. His impeccable timing in the film's legendary pie fight, where over 4,000 pies were thrown, stole the show from even Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis. By 1965, Martin had proven he could do it all, from spine-chilling villain to slapstick aristocrat to smooth-talking rogue. Then came The Wild Wild West, 1965 to 1969, the role that cemented him as a legend. As Artemus Gordon, Martin wasn't just a sidekick. He was an inventor, a master of espionage, and a man of 1,000 faces. His transformations were so seamless that even co-star Robert Conrad sometimes failed to recognize him. But his dedication ran deeper than costumes and makeup. Martin, fluent in 8 languages, would meticulously alter his voice and mannerisms to create utterly unique personas. A classically trained musician, he even played Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major live on set for Night of the Casual Killer, 1967, leaving the crew in awe. His musical skills weren't just for show, he wove them into Gordon's spy tactic, embedding Morse code messages into harmonica tunes. Yet, his relentless commitment came at a cost. In 1968, while filming Night of the Sabatini Death, Martin collapsed from a near-fatal heart attack. Doctors discovered a 95% arterial blockage. His perfectionism had nearly killed him. Though Martin survived, Hollywood saw him differently. Despite his Emmy-nominated performances, the industry now viewed him as a liability. When CBS abruptly canceled The Wild Wild West in 1969, blaming concerns over TV violence, Martin's troubles only deepened. Producers grew wary. When he landed the lead role in Banyan, 1970, the studio rescinded the offer after reviewing his medical records. Even securing guest spots became a battle. To appear in Columbo, suitable for framing, 1971, he was forced to personally finance a $250,000 insurance bond, but Martin refused to fade away. Between 1970 and 1981, he racked up 87 guest roles, proving his versatility in Hawaii, 5-0, The Man from Unsettling, and Love, American Style. His chameleon-like ability remained unmatched. In Columbo, suitable for framing, his portrayal of smug art critic Dale Kingston was so infuriatingly good that Peter Falk broke character, muttering, "I hate this guy." The episode pulled a 27.3 Nielsen rating, the highest of Columbo's first season. Even in light-hearted roles, his brilliance shone. In The Man from Unsettling, he ad-libbed physics-heavy dialogue using real law school textbooks, stunning the director with his intellect. Ross Martin had everything: talent, charm, and a work ethic like no other. But his greatest strength was also his greatest curse. And in the end, it cost him everything. Off-screen, Ross Martin's life held as much drama as the roles he played. His first marriage to Muriel Weiss ended quietly, but his devotion to her never wavered. When she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1962, he paid for her treatments in secret. 3 years later, as he filmed The Wild Wild West, she passed away. CBS refused to give him time off for her funeral, so he ignored them. He flew to New York overnight, said his final goodbye, then returned to set without a single hour of sleep. Years later, the guilt lingered. To honor her memory, he donated $250,000 to cancer research. His daughter Phyllis later reflected, "He loved us, but Hollywood became his true family." Ross Martin was a man of brilliance, resilience, and contradiction. A classically trained actor who almost rejected the role that made him famous. A master of disguise who struggled to be seen as more than a character actor. A performer who defied Hollywood's limitation, but couldn't outrun his own heart. In 1967, he found love again with Olavi Lucille Parson, a woman who grounded him in ways Hollywood never could. He legally adopted her children, Rebecca and George, going as far as changing their birth certificates to list him as their father. "He didn't just give us his name," Rebecca later said, "he gave us his heart." Their love was tested almost immediately. Just a year into their marriage, Martin suffered a near-fatal heart attack. Doctors warned him to slow down, but slowing down wasn't in his nature. Olavi became his silent protector, smuggling oxygen tanks onto the Wild Wild West set, just so he could keep working. She even negotiated a pay cut with CBS to help him stay employed. Then, in 1969, she suffered a miscarriage. Martin never spoke of it publicly, but those close to him knew the pain never left him. Despite everything, he refused to step out of the spotlight. Hollywood might have labeled him high risk, but he kept fighting. He directed episodes of Love, American Style, mentored his adopted son George on The New Maverick, 1978, and booked an astonishing 87 guest roles between 1970 and 1981. His love for acting burned stronger than ever, even as Hollywood failed to give him the recognition he deserved. His performance in Experiment in Terror, 1962, should have made him a Hollywood A-list. As the terrifying Red Lynch, he delivered a villain so chilling, he influenced a generation of filmmakers. But when Columbia Pictures released the film, they refused to put his name on the posters. Was he a leading man? A villain? A comic genius? Hollywood couldn't decide. And by the time they figured it out, it was too late. Even as his health deteriorated, Martin refused to let it define him. He took up tennis, determined to prove his body wasn't failing him. But on July 3, 1981, at the San Vicente Tennis Ranch in Ramona, California, his heart betrayed him. Just feet from the clubhouse, he collapsed. Paramedics arrived in 8 minutes. It wasn't enough. His heart had suffered a total blockage of the infamous Widowmaker artery. His doctor later admitted his determination outpaced his physiology. Olavi, standing just 20 feet away, screamed, "Don't let him die!" But nothing could stop it. Ross Martin was gone at 61 years old. His funeral on July 7, 1981, was small. No Hollywood spectacle, No grand eulogies, just 300 mourners reciting Kaddish. CBS, the network that once thrived on his talent, sent no one. Robert Conrad, his closest friend and co-star, was furious. They canceled his show for being too violent, then ignored the man who made it art. But while Hollywood moved on, his fans never did. Every year, they visit his grave at Mount Sinai, leaving tiny violins in tribute to the man who could do it all. Leonard Maltin put it best, "Ross Martin didn't just die. Hollywood lost a piece of its soul that day."